Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and friends who are joining us online to our SmartPod Challenge 2020 Grand Finals. My name is Ning, and this is Jessica, and we're your hosts today. So we are very excited to be here in person because the last time we met, it was actually our virtual launch of the SmartPod Challenge 2020.
And the action is all here in Shaw Foundation Alumni House at the National University of Singapore. Today we have our guest of honor, Mr. Chee Hong Tat, Senior Minister of State for Transport and Foreign Affairs, Ms. Irene Cheong, Director of Industry Liaison Office, who is here on behalf of Professor Freddie Boy, Deputy President, Innovation and Enterprise, NUS. He's unable to join us today and sends his apologies. We also have Mr. Ngiam Chiang Meng, Chairman of the Maritime and Port Authority, MPA, and Ms. Kwai Lei Hun, Chief Executive of MPA.
And also present are partners from TMB Ventures and Singapore Shipping Association, our 2020 Grand Finalist, and of course, online we have our PIER71 partners and friends.
SmartPod Challenge is an annual competition for global tech ventures to reimagine their solutions for the maritime sector. It is co-organized by MPA, NUS via NUS Enterprise, and TNB Ventures.
And this year, there are 17 innovation opportunities put up by 16 maritime organizations, and they cover areas including smart ports, smart ship, and green technologies.
Yeah, and Ning, do you remember how difficult it was for our maritime veterans? They had to screen through over 180 proposals that we received globally and select the top 16 for our Accelerate program. And after that, our semi-final judges had an even harder job to select the top 8 that are here with us today.
Yeah, so definitely hats off to the finalists for completing the Accelerate program that was conducted fully online, and special shout out to the overseas teams who often have to dial in at 2 a.m. their local time.
Absolutely. So if you're keen to meet and speak with any of our 16 finalists, you can do so at the online networking sessions that they will be hosting after the program. So do head over to spc2020.pier71.sg and look for their profiles. You'll find a button that you can click for these sessions that will begin at 4:30 p.m. this afternoon.
Yep, that's right. And without further ado, may I please invite our guest of honor, SMS Chee Hong Tat, on stage to deliver the opening address. SMS, please.
Ms. Irene Cheong, Director, NUS Industry Liaison Office, Mr. Ngiam Chiang Meng, Chairman of MPA, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm happy to join all of you today at the Grand Finals of the SmartPod Challenge 2020. SmartPod Challenge started as a collaboration between the Maritime and Port Authority of Singapore and NUS Enterprise. The aim is to catalyze a vibrant innovation ecosystem for the maritime sector. Every year, technology startups are invited to submit proposals based on innovation opportunities that MPA and NUS have curated in collaboration with industry and partners. The focus is on key trends and priorities of the maritime sector. This year is no different. The 17 innovation opportunities for SmartPod Challenge 2020 cover areas such as enhancing efficiency and safety within the maritime ecosystem, automation of manual work processes, and maritime decarbonization. Innovation has always been key to Singapore's success, and it must be how we tackle the 3 driving forces impacting maritime: disruption, digitalization, and decarbonization. So at this point, I just want to make a quick mention that innovation not only is important for the maritime sector, it's important for all sectors. It's important also for the media sector. And I'm very proud to say, because Mr. Ngiam Chiang Meng is also chairman of MediaCorp, that Channel News Asia has been awarded Channel of the Year award by the Association of International Broadcasting. This is a prestigious global award. And I'm very proud to say that under the leadership of Mr. Ngiam, Ms. Tam Lok Keng, CEO of MediaCorp, as well as the CNA team, they have innovated and they have achieved this success. Actually, just for information, Ms. Kwai Lei Hun, before she became CE MPA, she used to hold a senior management position in MediaCorp. She was very much involved in the CNA work as well. So well done to CNA, And I hope this success can encourage the team to continue to innovate and to do well. So that spirit of innovation, whether is it for MediaCorp, CNA, whether is it for Maritime, or whether is it for all our other sectors, it is how Singapore can progress. It is how we can differentiate ourselves. It is how we can make this a pro-business and vibrant place. So let me now go back to the 3 Ds that I mentioned earlier, starting with disruption. So we know COVID-19 has been a major disruption to the world, and its impact on global supply chains will likely extend beyond the pandemic. Throughout the crisis, we have kept our port open, and we have enabled the flow of essential goods to continue. And this has strengthened our reputation and our competitive position as a global hub port. We are now preparing ourselves for changes in global supply chains in a post-COVID world, and how the Port of Singapore can retain our connectivity and remain relevant in such an environment. So this is the first D, disruption. The second D is digitalization. And this is something that is fundamentally changing the way businesses operate. I gave the example of the media industry, maritime industry, but actually all sectors. F&B, retail, university education, all sectors are affected by technology, by digitalization. So this is a game changer for companies to increase their productivity, and the pandemic has given this effort a push, and hopefully it can catalyze, can accelerate the progress, and we should ride on this momentum so that we can enjoy greater synergies across the maritime sector and also strengthen the linkages with other sectors like logistics and manufacturing. So that's the second D. The third D is decarbonization, and this is already changing how the maritime sector operates. In the future, the marine fuel we use, the vessels we design, and the ports that we build will all be very different from today. Singapore supports the International Maritime Organization's emission targets to halve greenhouse gas emissions from ships by 2050, from 2008 levels, and to pursue efforts to phase out such greenhouse gas emissions in this century. We'll continue to pursue sustainable growth strategies and do our part in the fight against climate change. To turn these 3 Ds from challenges into opportunities, innovation must continue to be the central focus of our maritime ecosystem, and also our key value proposition as a maritime hub. Today, I'll focus on 3 aspects which we must strengthen to achieve this outcome. So first, how do we strengthen collaboration among our tripartite partners? Next, how do we encourage experimentation and risk-taking? And finally, how do we support innovation by working with stakeholders to review existing policies and rules? These 3 areas are interrelated, and if you do it well, they actually support one another. Okay, let me start with collaboration. Coming up with innovative ideas is not easy, and it is even harder if we do it on our own. Fortunately, we have a strong collaborative culture in Singapore between MPA, academia, industry, unions, and solution providers such as our tech companies. This has allowed partners to jointly develop innovative ideas and turn them into scalable solutions. In just over 3 years since the establishment of PIER71, or Port Innovation Ecosystem Reimagined at Block 71, more than 50 maritime partners have come together to co-create 66 innovation opportunities. 58 startups have gone through our PIER71 Accelerate program, where we provide mentorship, masterclasses, and networking opportunities for innovators to meet other maritime partners and to take your ideas forward. They also have access to funding opportunities from Enterprise Singapore and from the venture capital partners who have together committed up to Singapore dollars 50 million for the startups to pilot their ideas. So one example is Performance Rotors, which are grand finalists from the 2019 Smart Port Challenge. Performance Rotors started out as a Singapore deep tech startup that served the building and construction industry. Through the PIER71 Accelerator program, they discovered new opportunities in the maritime sector. So they applied their technology, which they developed for the construction sector, and they now apply it to the maritime sector. So they met new partners, such as Bernard Schutter, who provided the platforms to test bed their ideas. So fast forward 12 months, Performance Rotors has since developed a new service for the maritime sector using drones to conduct inspections in confined spaces, such as vessel hulls and ballast tanks. Using drones removes the need for laying scaffolding, which would have been needed for inspections done by human inspectors. So not only is this more efficient, it is also safer. Performance Rotors has received multiple class certifications to conduct remote surveys internationally. They're seeking to expand their services overseas in Asia, Europe, and the US after securing funding from Royal Vopak, a Dutch multinational tank storage firm. So this is an example of how a startup can develop an idea in Singapore, test it out with partners here, prove that it works, and then scale it up by taking their ideas and expanding it overseas. By working together, we generate more innovative ideas and we increase the chances of success. Next, being innovative requires an appetite for experimentation and risk-taking. In other words, we must be prepared to accept some failure. While the COVID-19 pandemic has caused a lot of hardship and a lot of disruption, it also presents opportunities for us to identify gaps that require new solutions. As the world's largest transshipment port, Singapore is a good location for solutions providers to test bed new ideas. Solutions that work well in a busy hub port like Singapore could be adapted for other ports globally. We need to support first movers, and these include individuals and companies who are willing to take risks and pioneer innovative solutions, and help them, even though some of them may fail initially, help them to try again, help them to come up with new proposals. And we do this by providing a safe fail environment that encourages experimentation. Earlier this year, MPA called for proposals from the maritime industry that aim to build resilience and competitiveness in the post-COVID-19 era, and to deepen 3D printing capabilities in the maritime sector. I'm happy to know that about 40 proposals were received. Under our MPA, Maritime Innovation and Technology Fund, or the MINT Fund, we are awarding around $1.6 million of co-funding to 11 consortiums. 5 of these are joint industry projects to build stronger resilience and competitiveness, and 6 are projects focusing on additive manufacturing of marine parts. So one of them is a Singapore technology startup called Ships Focus. When Ships Focus ventured into digitizing passenger launch services in 2017, they faced initial resistance from industry players who were used to scheduling boats and passengers using pen and paper. Very traditional method. So earlier attempts by other technology players were unsuccessful. But Ships Focus persevered and eventually found customers willing to invest in their vision. Today, Ships Focus will be collaborating with another Singapore maritime technology company, Innovest One, to develop contactless counter services at our piers to increase efficiency and improve passenger experience. I'm sure COVID-19 was a factor, probably catalyzed and accelerated this move, this change, but they would not be able to take advantage of the opportunity if they had not developed the idea beforehand. So because they had done all their preparations, they were ready with the solution, when the opportunity came due to COVID-19, they were able to seize that opportunity and take it forward. So their pilot involves 10 counters and could reduce queues and achieve estimated cost savings of up to $180,000 per annum. Additive manufacturing will play a critical role in achieving a more sustainable and efficient maritime industry. Current methods to replace marine spare parts can be costly and time-consuming. Sometimes the cost of sourcing and bringing in a spare part may cost more than the part itself. And I think the most problematic issue is actually the delay caused to the companies while you're waiting for the part to come. So to deal with this, Wilhelmsen and ThyssenKrupp have joined hands to lead 2 of the consortiums on additive manufacturing to print and trial the use of 14 parts on board Singapore-registered vessels across 8 different shipping companies. The collaboration brings together ThyssenKrupp's deep expertise in additive manufacturing with Wilhelmsen's maritime service and supply chain knowledge to develop a solution that can make shipping more efficient and more sustainable. So that's the second area, the need to experiment and the need to take some risk. Let me now touch on the third and final area, on the need to review existing policies and rules to support innovation. We must continue to provide a regulatory environment which is flexible, forward-looking, and open to new possibilities, and where we welcome industry players to work together with government agencies to jointly develop new solutions. Now, one example is the medical examination of seafarers on board vessels to ensure they are fit to travel before they can disembark the vessel for crew change. And this was a new requirement that arose due to COVID-19. Medical examination of seafarers entailed a doctor taking a launch boat, boarding the vessel, and then physically examining the crew. So this was not only costly, time-consuming, it also carried risk of transmission. So we had to quickly find a new way for the doctors to examine the crew while keeping them safe. So what is the solution? Telemedicine. So MPA worked with the Ministry of Health to revise our crew change protocol and port marine circulars. This allowed our doctors to examine crew remotely before they issued a fit-to-travel certificate. There will be other policies and rules which we will need to review when new ideas emerge. I mean, that example I gave is just one of them. There are many other examples, many other areas where we need to do this. The key is to keep communication channels open between government agencies and the industry, and to encourage feedback and suggestions from stakeholders on how we can work together to continually enhance our rules and our practices. It's a never-ending journey because there's always a new idea, a new proposal, a new concept, a new technology that will require us to look at whether our existing rules are imposing constraints. Are there any bottlenecks we need to resolve? Are there any areas where we are preventing new ideas from taking off? And that process is best done in collaboration between the government and the industry, between the government agencies and our companies. Because you need the collaboration to get the feedback and then to be able to translate that into actual rule changes. So to conclude, innovation is a key enabler to propel maritime Singapore forward and to create jobs and opportunities for our people. We will continue to invest in this area by supporting collaborations, by encouraging experimentation and risk-taking, and by working together with the industry to proactively review our policies and rules. Smart Port Challenge is a good example of this effort. I hope it has been a fruitful and exciting journey for all of you, and I look forward to learning more about your projects. Congratulations once again to all the participants and finalists of Smart Port Challenge 2020. Thank you very much.
Thank you, SMSG. I'd like to invite Ms. Irene Cheong, Director of Industry Liaison Office, NUS, on stage to deliver the welcome address. Ms. Irene, please.
So good afternoon, Mr. Chee Hong Tat, Senior Minister of State, Ministry of Transport and Ministry of Foreign Affairs, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of NUS, I'm delighted to welcome you to the grand final of the Smart Port Challenge 2020. And for those who are watching this live, thank you for joining us. So the PIER71, or Port Innovation Ecosystem Reimagined at Block 71, is a collaboration between MPA and NUS Enterprise to boost innovation in the maritime industry. We foster a global community to uncover opportunities and to accelerate ventures through programs such as this, the Smart Port Challenge. So close to 600 technology startups from around the world have participated in this challenge since PIER71 was established less than 3 years ago. 32 of them have received funding of over 1.5 million Singapore dollars in total from MPA to develop and testbed their solutions. So thank you very much, MPA, for that support. This year, despite the COVID-19 pandemic, we've received over 180 submissions from more than over 30 countries. 56% of them came from outside Singapore. So that is a strong indicator that entrepreneurs are still seeing the maritime industry as one with growth opportunities, and many of them are able to reimagine their solutions for this industry. To support this growth trajectory, NUS has a reservoir of intellectual property, and many of the technologies can be applied to the maritime industry. For example, this year, one of the innovation opportunities called for continuous testing and monitoring of water quality on board ships. Within NUS, a team led by one of our professors working on water research developed a real-time monitoring system that detects heavy metals in sewage networks. This was modified and now has the potential to be deployed in vessels to ensure that water in storage tanks are free from contaminants, that are safe for drinking, and hence reduce the consumption of bottled water. Last year's SPC winner, Dravam, started from a lab in NUS. They developed an intelligent multi-phase engine based on an AI platform, and through PIER71, found an application in maritime. They are currently operating a prototype skid while working with field testing laboratories to validate, benchmark, and further enhance this algorithm. And they're testing this against certified lab tests. They are also scheduling their test bedding projects aboard bunker tankers because of the travel and transport restrictions. Once fully adopted, this will provide comprehensive fuel quality assurance and promote better transparency in operations. Like SMS mentioned, COVID has presented unforeseen challenges, and one of them is freedom of movement. Breathonics, another NUS spin-off and startup from our NUS Graduate Research Innovation Program, we call this GRIP, has adapted their breathalyzer system, initially developed for lung cancer at early stages, to now provide a non-invasive test for COVID-19 that takes less than 1 minute. So we no longer have to worry about things being stuck up our noses, far back or otherwise. Talks are ongoing with the Ministry of Health for wider deployment in public locations. Our ports are a global hub with high traffic, and we hope that technologies like this from NUS can continue to help keep our global trade open. By tapping on universities' vast research, deep tech, and knowledge capability, and leveraging on our global network and ecosystem, I hope that startups can continue to be effective and impactful solutions to real-world problems. So our deep collaboration with MPA will also expose teams to industries they may not have otherwise considered. So initiatives like PIER71 is just one example of the many programs we have at NUS and NUS's larger efforts to develop deep tech and industry-relevant programs. I'll share a few. So SMS, you mentioned that innovation is important, and I wholeheartedly agree with you. So one of our newest programs, the Venture Building Program, was recently announced by the Singapore government in just August. NUS is one of the 5 accredited mentor partners appointed as part of the Enhanced Startup SG Founder Program. Designed by NUS, the NUS Venture Building Program is a 3-month experiential program with a monthly stipend and structured training for aspiring entrepreneurs. So everybody can start their own business and kickstart their journey in innovation and increase their chance of success. Our first cohort is just about to graduate, and we have a strong interest for the second run that will start in January next year. So for those of us who are interested in entrepreneurship or looking to harness technology for new business or unmet needs, I invite you to explore our innovation and entrepreneurship programs at NUS. We have a Masters of Science in Venture Creation, as well as an NUS Technology Access Program, where participants can tap into the intellectual property from NUS, and with that, move their innovative ideas into viable deep tech startups. We hope to continue to hone the next generation of change makers. TAP is also suitable for those in more traditional organizations venturing into new arenas or seeking innovation within existing businesses. So we welcome you to come join us at NUS. The post-pandemic world will be a very different one from what it was before. Enterprises that are innovative, agile, and resilient will be well poised to seize new opportunities that arise. We want to foster closer collaboration with our startups within the PIER71 ecosystem to give them that competitive edge that will help them reach a wider market beyond Singapore. Just last month, 9 startups from PIER71 participated in the tech showcase organized by our global incubator Block 71 in Indonesia. 4 of them are already in active discussions with potential customers there. So before I end, I'd like to thank our partners, MPA and TNB Ventures, who have joined us on this voyage to enable tech entrepreneurs to reimagine solutions for maritime. And this will help us continue to position Singapore as a global center for maritime innovation. With that, best wishes to all 8 grand finalists, and I look forward to hearing your pitches. Please enjoy the rest of the afternoon's program. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. Now, I'm sure we all can't wait to hear from our startups and their innovations, but just before that, we have another very important group of people to introduce to you, and that's our 3 wise men of today, our grand finals judging panel.
Yes, so on our panel, we have Professor Teo Chung Piao, Professor and Provost Chair and Director of the Institute of Operational Research and Analytics in NUS.
We also have Mark Dragon, Managing Director of Reef Knot Investments.
And the chair for the panel is Nakul Malhotra, Vice President, Open Innovation from Wilhelmsen Ship Services.
So what's going to happen next is that each startup will get 3 minutes to pitch, and after that, another 3 minutes for Q&A with our judges.
How exciting. And we have a very interesting lineup today, 5 Singapore-based teams and 3 dialing in from different parts of the world. And the first team is BX, and they are going to bring us deep into the waters with their autonomous maritime systems for operations at seas. Grace, please.
Hi, good morning. My name is Grace, the CEO of BX, a spin-off of NUS. Firstly, I have some great news. We have secured LOIs and are conducting trials for first 4 service providers in our Singapore waters, helping them make more money and reducing their operational risks. These service providers traditionally use divers off-work boats to carry out inspections on critical infrastructure such as ports, vessels, and dams. Okay, sorry. The market for underwater inspections is big and growing. In particular, floating solar farms and offshore wind structures will continue to increase in volume underwater. Singapore in particular has a large need for underwater inspections to be done efficiently and safely due to us having the world's largest port and 1,000 vessels daily in our waters. BX is helping service providers adopt underwater robotics much more efficiently. Currently, it is a costly and complex procedure for them to buy a drone, add additional sensors, process the data, train up the team to complete this whole entire process. Fundamentally, they still require the workboats to launch these vehicles out at sea. Hence, a lot of them still are using divers today. BX technology simplifies all of this, and let me show you how it works. Our advanced sensors enable autonomous perception and navigation in low visibility complex environments. Its intelligence helps to dramatically reduce costs for large-scale infrastructure, especially using its AI to recognize many of the same things. We are using real-time processing to clean up underwater images and 3D reconstruction to help asset owners analyze the amount of protective element left on their assets. The data is processed on the cloud and immediately available for various stakeholders to collaborate, presenting unprecedented data as compared to the methods today. Our business model to drive adoption is to offer these vehicles for lease or purchase, and the intelligent software within are available for a subscription basis. Our team is a strong team between a mix of business and engineering. We have spent the past 7 years developing 7 variants of underwater vehicles, and we are advised by industry experts in offshore, manufacturing, and enterprise sales. Our goal is to scale up our technology to various distance away from shore. With our first flagship vehicle, A Ikan Bilis, we are inspecting ports, floating solar farms, and dams. We will then go further with our AUV deployed off an unmanned surface vessel to dramatically reduce costs. Safety and efficiency with PX. Thank you.
All right, so I guess now it's 3 minutes. Grace, you have to stay on stage for the 3 minutes Q&A with the judges. I'm sure they have questions to fire away.
Yes, forgot, sorry.
And your 3 minutes start now. Judges?
First question, if I can, Grace. Great pitch. How do you see yourself scaling up into other geographies?
Yeah. So the reason why we specifically chose the business model to be a tech provider is because we don't want to be a service provider. So we are selling our hardware to the local service providers so that they can offer the inspection services. And for us, we will continually build up the tech and the autonomous behavior inside the vehicles and charge based on that and get the recurring revenue from there.
Okay, thank you.
Grace, a question around the technology itself. So is your core in the autonomous part of it, which is developing the autonomous capabilities for deep waters, etc.? Or is it the analysis of the assets itself? So for example, besides computer vision, right, but also perhaps into spectral analysis, etc.?
So we believe our model is a lot more like Tesla. So the hardware and software integration as a robotic solution will allow us to get the best data underwater. Analysis of the data is more like a post-processing, and we believe that the autonomous software stack that we have actually built up is critical to achieve that kind of in-depth analysis on the underwater assets. So I would say it's a progression into the analytics side. Yeah.
Can you elaborate on the fail-safe mechanism that you have built into the system?
Yeah, so the current existing Ikan Bilis actually has a geo-reference because it has underwater positioning systems. So we typically set a geo-reference for the vehicle to follow, and if it actually exceeds the geo-reference that we define it will automatically return back to home. So these behaviors actually have to be trained and adapted to the different environments that they operate in, which is why we charge people for the autonomous behavior in their fields.
We have about 1 minute left. Any more questions, judges?
Then I'll have one more question.
Yeah.
Is it possible, just following on from Mark's question, is it possible then to disconnect from the hardware and the software if other robotic or autonomous companies wanted to use your software capabilities? Is it compatible, and how easy is that?
So the data that we generate is a 3D point cloud. It's a standard format that can be analyzed afterwards. The hardware layer is more like our expertise. We know what are the correct sensors to use to give us the most optimized data collection platform.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Now let's see if the next team is right on time, because their solution is going to give us a more accurate predicted time of arrival for vessels. So we have Sea Vantage dialing in from South Korea. TJ, please.
We're ready for you.
All right. Sure. Yes. Can you see the screen clearly?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I'm ready. My name is TJ On. I'm the global sales manager at Sea Vantage. Did you know that the on-time performance in maritime transport is less than 50, 40, even 30%? Whereas it is 95% in the aviation industry. Our problem identification started from here. Why so inaccurate? Our major customers are spending too much time, money, and efforts which they do not actually have to. And it's all because of the inaccurate ETA of vessels. And the worst thing is that those stakeholders have taken this inaccurate ETA for granted because it's been like this for a long time. However, this would be the laziest excuse to make from now because we, Cvantage, has created this great maritime solution as VMP to solve all these problems. We firstly would like to replace broadly used ETA with predicted time of arrival, PTA, based on highly advanced AI algorithm and accurate data. To be able to do that, we're collecting enormous amount of data covering all of the world, but at the same time, we have the specialty in analyzing those data because we analyze and process them by types and sizes of the vessels. Therefore, our accuracy has been increased enormously, and our customers are now able to enjoy this great maritime solution that they have never experienced before. These are the 3 delivery models that we have. Customers can use these models based on annual subscription, depending on the demand that they have. These are the major clients and investors that we have in the South Korean market. Among those stakeholders, POSCO, the biggest cargo owner in South Korea, has very interesting business goal in the South Korean market. They are projecting to decrease and save $200 million demurrage rate. And we're expecting similar numbers to our potential customers in the foreign markets as well. These are our team members. These are the ones who created this great solution and contributed to making this company on the dominant position in the South Korean market. Now we're looking up in the high to expand our business territory to the global market, whose size is about $170 billion. We are very confident in our technology because we will revolutionize this whole global maritime tracking industry. Thank you.
Right, time. Thank you, TJ. The judge Q&A, so we have 3 minutes. Judges, please take it away.
Sorry, go
Go ahead.
Just a question. What was sort of the primary founding team? What were they doing before Cvantage? Is predicting models something that you guys have done before?
Well, actually, our team has done the job collecting the data. So we're actually the technicians and the people are specialized in collecting data, and we actually added people who can analyze and process data with high efficiency.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. There are some startups globally that already do something similar around prediction of ETAs and stuff like that. Leveraging of not only historical data, but also with current AI's data, they also take into account dwell time at ports, including the different vessel types as well. So what's the main difference that you have versus some of these other players who have been around for a little bit longer than yourself?
Okay, so our specialty is the amount of data that we have. We are actually collecting enormous amount of data covering all of the world. And plus, we actually reflect the meteorological data as well. And the birding data is very unique in this industry. Plus, that we are analyzing those data based on the size and type of vessel is very unique as well. And we're projecting to actually analyze all individual vessels of 60,000 number of vessels, and then we're expecting to increase the accuracy much more within a year.
I actually have 2 questions. So just to build on Mark's questions, I've seen similar system in other startup like Clipper Data. So one of the biggest problems they have is getting vessel data is easy, but getting the port operational data is quite difficult. So I don't know how you overcome this. And the second question is, what is your plan? How do you intend to integrate this PTA system with the rest of the supply chain operations. So what are the externalities of this?
Oh, okay. So regarding the port data, yeah, all these platform companies have the limitation to access the data. That's why we actually built. I'm sorry, I was going to show the presentation slide, but we actually have the bespoke model, which is very unique in this industry. So we're actually transferring our platform to their customer's own server, and based on the functions that we have, the customers can insert their own data, especially the port operators. They can insert their own data to our system, and then we can analyze the data. So it is right that we have limited access to the port data, but the port operators can enjoy our service if they have own data. And what was the second question? I'm sorry.
Okay, our time is up. Sorry about that. Thank you, TJ, for presentation. Round of applause to TJ, please.
Wait, Jessica, are you really going to drink that? You sure the water is safe to drink or not? Well, the next team, EnvironSense, right, has technology to monitor water quality. So maybe they can test that for you, Jess. So Dr. Shailesh, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shailesh Karkwal, and I'm CEO and co-founder of EnvironSense. EnvironSense is a spin-off from NUS, and we have been working very closely with PUB for new water protection. Today, I'm here to showcase our unique smart sensor solution, which is able to detect bacterial contamination online in the water stored in ships. Bacterial contamination is a real serious issue, however, have been overlooked largely, and we have to, now it's time to act proactively after COVID-19 pandemic. If bacterial contamination happens in the drinking water stored in the ship, there are chances of rapid outbreak and severe diseases. Therefore, MLC and WHO has stringent guidelines to imposed on against the bacterial contamination, and there are some upcoming guidelines by BWMC for bacterial contamination in ballast water. So what marine industry basically require is a rapid online automated bacterial contamination sensor system which is able to detect bacterial contamination in onboard vessel itself. However, currently available technologies and methods lack this capability. I2BACT-S, which is Intelligent Integrated Bacteria Sensor System, is able to do online measurement of bacterial contamination in 20 minutes in onboard vessel through 3 simple steps of filtration, staining, and colorimetric analysis. It always provides pre-warning alert to the authorities whenever it is required. I2BACT-S has superiority in comparison to other technology because it is rapid. We can detect bacteria contamination in 20 minutes. It is highly reproducible, so it's quite reliable. It is highly sensitive, and the best thing is the cost is too low in comparison to other technologies. EnvironSense has a proven track record in real-time water quality monitoring. In Singapore, we have installed 100 over units for monitoring the sewer water quality in Singapore. And through these capabilities, we have been awarded internationally and regionally. We foresee a huge potential of this technology globally because over 70,000 ships sails globally, and as per the MPA data, in every 2 to 3 minutes in Singapore, either one ship either arrives or leaves Singapore port. So there is huge potential. Our revenue model is quite flexible. Either we can sell or lease our technology or our product to our customers, and we are looking forward for like-minded partners. So what we have to offer is a rapid online automated sensor system which is able to detect bacteria in onboard vessels and could be customized. Our asset is our highly experienced Singapore team, which include Professor Hao Yong, who is Director of NUS Environmental Research Institute. Me, I have been in 10 over years in this industry, and Trung, who is expertise in automation and process control. That's all about me. Thanks.
And judges, fire away. 3 minutes.
2 questions, if I could, from my side. One is, have you been in touch with any classification society or any kind of quasi-regulatory body to see whether your product is performing according to maritime standards? And second question is, how do you see this scaling up on a wider level?
Okay. To answer your first question, I have to be a bit honest here. This is the first time we are targeting in the marine market. We have been working with the utilities like PUB, which has been regulating water in Singapore. So we have the capabilities. So we want to switch these capabilities to the marine market. So this is the platform for us. That's why we participated in this program. And your second question, how we can scalable this product in a big industries. As I said, there are thousands of ships, So solution is there. We are just looking forward for a like-minded partner who can help us to expand this business and, in this industry.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I'd like to ask a question around the commercial model and the returns on investment, right? So what would compel either ship owner or management company or any of those, to purchase your system, right? What are really the returns on investment for them?
So for them, there were the incidents, I think in last decade, there was hundreds of outbreaks which happened. So if you are a, reputed cruise companies and if you, recognize a rapid outbreak because of the bacterial contamination in drinking water, it will be a, big compromising situation for them. So that is one thing. And second thing, the companies have to provide best quality of drinking water for their employees who are sailing around the ship. Suppose some ship is coming to Singapore and they are, taking water from Singapore port. So water quality could be quite good. But if they are sailing to Batam or any other place, in a developing country or underdeveloped country, then the water quality could be compromised. So they need to have a system which they can, safeguard their own employees. So that will be the return of investment.
Thank you.
So my question is on the performance metric of your system. So how accurate is your system? Have you tested?
So result reproducibility is more than 90% and sensitivity is 10 CFU colony forming unit per ml. So it's quite sensitive and quite reproducible.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you,
Thanks.
Dr. Shailesh. Thank you.
And the next team we have is Fuel Safe, who will bring to us an innovative improvisation of a combustion engine that will help us to save fuel. And they're calling in from Germany. We have Mark on the line.
Even during the pandemic, shipping remained the backbone of the global economy, and operators are under continued pressure and looking for new solutions to comply with regulations to combat their emissions while at the same time becoming more energy efficient. My name is Mark, the CEO of Fuel Safe, and we have developed such a solution for the maritime sector as an easy retrofit, patented hardware solution, helping operators through a sustainable and economical viable clean fuel transition, helping them to become more profitable while reducing their environmental impact for a unique value proposition. We're combining, for example, up to 10% and to 15% CO2 reduction with a unique greenhouse gas and CO2 equivalent reduction of up to 80% NOx or 33% of black carbon. Why customers want to buy it? Because we contractually guarantee with a bank warranty in place 10% net OPEX savings and traditionally feature an average ROI under 3 years. How we achieve that? With a dynamic load-based injection of hydrogen, oxygen, water and methanol that we're dynamically injecting into 3 different locations of the air intake in different quantities and combinations to directly optimize the combustion, leading to a higher efficiency of thermal and volumetric efficiency. We have field proven this for 2.5 years on Europe's largest heavy lift crane ship and have shown there over 16% in net savings only from reduced fuel consumption. It's modular and scalable from 100 kilowatt to over 100 megawatt. And here on the left side, you see an installation, how it was done on the MBNet, and on the right side, our latest deployment, including the largest 4-stroke single-row engine in the market. We have lab proven this in the most prestigious thermodynamics lab in Europe, confirming our results and that there are no harm to the operating engine. We are the world's first solution of such technology, first mover. It's unique and patented. We have been funded by the EU 2 times for 4-stroke and now also for the 2-stroke development. Became top SME in Europe, highest evaluation score from the European Commission, first German company to ever achieve that. and got voted by the Industry Solution of the Future beginning of the year at the Green Tech Shipping Forum. Our first project includes the largest four-stroke, and we signed end of last year our first project, a 5 million project equipping 6 ships with 93 megawatt combined engine power. We have received LOIs for over 200 ships in under 2 weeks when launching it, and major ship owners, engine manufacturers, and shipyards and leasing companies are approaching us. We're the only emission reduction solution with such positive ROI, really increasing profitability while saving the environment. We outperform other efficiency enhancement technologies by a factor of over 400% in terms of CO2 equivalent and greenhouse gas reduction due to the cleaner combustion. For example, for a container ship, this refers to almost 500,000 tons of CO2 equivalent reduction per year. Currently, we offer direct sales. We are entering into leasing energy efficiency as a service model, and we're moving into licensing and contracting schemes.
Sorry, Mark, your time is up. Thank you for your presentation. And now we have 3 minutes for Q&A from the judges, please.
Yeah, maybe I'll start easy. Thanks for the presentation, very impressive numbers. What is your longer term roadmap post combustion engines, or is it purely looking at combustion engines?
No, there are different ones also with regards to fuel cells, and we have our own innovations around electrolyzers and wanting to move also into solid oxide fuel cells from there. So, I mean, there are different, let's say, advancements as with regards to that.
Thanks. Other than the technology, can you touch on your business model?
Sorry, the business model?
Yeah.
Because currently we're offering direct sales to also safeguard our cash flow, and we got the first offers from 3 funds and financial service providers to also offer leasing projects or energy efficiency as a service. So which we are seeing midterm is very attractive for us with regards to the business case that is there, really creating a win-win for all stakeholders.
Just a question on my side. How have you validated the CO2 equivalent savings?
With regards to the NOx and the black carbon savings and the global warming potential as a multiplicator, as the established method. And for example, if you have another efficiency enhancement that reduces 10% fuel, they also reduce 10% NOx. In our case, it's average 50%, so we are 5 times their higher, which then impacts obviously tremendously the CO2 equivalent reduction.
Another question for you, Mark. What is the retrofit time, and does the vessel need to go off hire to be able to fit your equipment?
Very good question. We can install in 2 to 3 weeks in a team of 3 people, even under voyage. The methanol storage tank sometimes requires a yard visit, depending on the preference and space available on that particular asset. But we can install under voyage in a few weeks, which is one of the big advantages we're having as a retrofit solution.
Okay, thanks.
Maybe if you can go back to me. Question around the team itself. What specializations do you have within the team when it comes to R&D type effort?
We're very much R&D, let's say, focused. Our team lead is from ex-Siemens team lead, our CTO and inventor. Our technical director, he has a background of being 20 years in the largest shipyard in Europe at Pelesetas, and afterwards being technical director for 15 years in his own shipping company. So very much hands-on kind of experience coming from these gentlemen. I myself, for example, I'm not a ship engineer.
Thank you.
Okay, that's also all the time we have. Thank you very much, Mark, and a round of applause for Mark.
We are about halfway through, and next Vebits is using the expertise in visual analytics to accurately assess total area, even depth of oil slicks. And let's welcome Dr. Marcus Chen.
Hi, I'm Marcus, founder of Vebits. Mauritius is probably a dream for everybody. Unfortunately, an oil spill happened right after the launch of this SmartPort challenge. To effectively respond to an oil spill, we need to first estimate the coverage and the amount of oil spill before we take any actions. The issue is inefficiency and inaccuracy. Currently, the estimation of oil spill has 10 times uncertainties. Before I tell you our solution, I would like to share with you two secrets, ingredients to our solution. Secret number one, VPIX provide real-time, large-scale analytics. In transportation, there's a huge team to make sure drivers are safe and alert at all times. Our solution helped this company achieve up to 60 times efficiency. Currently, we are supporting 8,000 vehicles 24/7. Secret number two, VPIX provides precise analytics and control for automation. Our technology enables vehicles to interact safely and automatically with autonomous vehicles. This technology is going to a megaport. Now, let's come back to oil spill. The good news is oil has strong signatures in infrared. It's invisible to human eyes. Employing multiple spectral camera, we can fingerprint the oil and estimate the oil spill very accurately. Together with two secrets, we can do it in large scale, real time, automatically. Why we are the best team to do this? Sorry. VPIX founded in 2017, received first investment in 2018. We expanded to China in 2019. We specialize in smart sensing for industrial automation, especially in transportation and ports. I'm the founder. I spent 10 years in defense. I was technical lead for smart sensing. We have a very strong team, combined total of 60 years. We are expanding fast in Singapore and China. We have very strong foothold in southern China. In maritime industry, we have gained significant traction, including the world's largest oil spill response cooperative and very large vessel charterer. VPIX is expanding fast. We are looking for strategic investors and industrial partners to expand our business. We have a committed lead investor. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the pitch. Can you help me to understand who would be your primary customer target in the maritime industry?
Very good questions. In fact, we came from transportation. We have very good traction in transportation. As you can see that we're supporting 8,000 vehicles. We come into maritime just 2 months ago, and we met our first two love, oil spill response and last vessel chapter. These two are our two dates coming into the maritime. And they love what we offer. In fact, we're going to change the way they operate. So we intend to take this technology further, not just for these two companies, but expand to, for example, like surveillance for oil spill. We can go to sea, we can go to river, onshore, and even on the land. That is a potential market. And how we go there, I think each region, each location has each player. We intend to leverage on whatever we have in PIER71, in our existing customers, we expand further.
Thank you.
I have a question around use cases. So you start off with logistics in the, I saw trucks and drivers and stuff like that.
Sure.
And now you're going to oil spill. So the use cases are actually not that similar, right? So, one is driver behavior, etc., and the other is really around spectral analysis for oil. So where is your core competency,
Sure.
right? And, how long does it take to actually, in the case of the oil spill, develop and train the models to be able to do it accurately enough?
Sure. So that come from the background. Before I started this company, I was team lead for smart sensing in defense. Smart sensing, we exploit signatures, unique object signatures in oil, in trees. For example, we tell tree whether it's healthy or not healthy, we do that. And how these two come together and make it even bigger. We do it in transportation, we do it in large scale. We are supporting 8,000 vehicles. Imagine 8,000 vehicles sending videos real time, all of them. We do it large scale, 24/7. Now, come to the next secret. We have automation. So coming to the oil spill is crisis management. You need real time, you need large scale, and you need automatic. Eventually, our brain can control these persons as aircraft fly over. That is the game we want to make it happen.
So is it like a, in that case, it's more like edge computing type, edge analytics type? Are you looking at that? Or are you looking at the communications, bandwidth, and capacity as it comes in?
So that's a very good question. So all kind of deployment environment, if just for example, a drone fly over 1,000 feet, that can be edge. But in the shorter range, it can be 5G or 4G. So all kind of combination that platform can offer. It depends also on the large scale. Yeah, I hope that answer your question.
Thanks. Sorry, Prof.
It's okay.
Professor Teo, you have questions? Okay, so you may borrow.
Well, 3 minutes is up, but then we can take more questions at the session later on. Okay. Yeah.
Sure. Happy to
Thank
answer
you.
more. Thank you very much.
And next up, we're heading over to France to hear from Sea Routes on how they can help shippers to meet their greenhouse gas emission targets. So Eva is on the line. Good morning, Eva, and whenever you're ready, please begin.
Morning, hi everyone. I'm ready. I'm Eva, Chief Marketing Officer at Sea Routes, and we help logistic and transport stakeholders build a greener supply chain. And I'm going to explain you how we do this. Let me tell you something happening in Europe and growing worldwide. 90% of the world's largest companies publish targets to cut their carbon emission. Therefore, shippers such as IKEA consider carbon footprint data as a must-have for their transport provider. Otherwise, they could be just excluded from all the call for tenders. And this is what's happening in Europe. So here is an opportunity for shipping companies to differentiate from competition and take new market share, providing solution to the shipper to improve their carbon footprint from transport. So now is the moment to take action, to take carbon footprint seriously, and we have the technology to do this. The problem is that the current solution available on the market are not too good. The data they take into account into their calculation is not accurate enough to differentiate carriers and services. This is what we do at Sea Routes. We have developed an innovative methodology which takes into account more granular data, such as the vessel specifics, the actual speed of the vessel, the real distances, and we also integrate into our algorithms the carrier schedule. Therefore, we are able to compute the true CO2, and we are also able to differentiate carriers and services. We are able to do this all modes. And you, as a shipping company, you can now help shippers take action to reduce their carbon footprint from transport. In the meantime, you can get the new market share and differentiate from competition. Our solution is available via API, and it's really easy to integrate into your systems. Here is an example of the API integration in our web app, and you can get the data from us under subscription, the pricing, depending on the number of containers you operate every year. Here are some of our company trusting us. And for the moment, currently, we have 15 clients on the CO2 emission product, including some of the companies here. We are also under discussion with 3 more companies from the top freight forwarder. We have a great team here with a strong focus on R&D to keep improving our algorithms. My name is Eva, and I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Eva. And now is the time for our judges to ask their questions. 3 minutes.
Maybe I can start first. So Eva, the routing problem usually suffers from the trade-off between performance and scale. So if the size of the problem is large, trying to strive for optimal solution is usually difficult. So I don't know how you overcome this performance and scale trade-off in your solution.
I'm sorry, can you please repeat the question? I'm not
No,
sure to get the
it's a bit
question
technical.
clearly.
So I'm asking you about the trade-off between performance and the size of the problem. So how big a scale of the problem can your system manage?
I'm really sorry. I have troubles with the sound.
I think the
It's not
question.
clear at all. I'm really sorry about this.
I think the question.
Okay, maybe
that
I change my question. So the next question I have is about disruption. How do you handle in a C-route planning system? How do you handle disruption into your plans? Incorporate the disruption, the updates of shipping information into your plan.
The question, I think, is how do you incorporate disruption into your plan, into your solution? So if you're looking at the sea routes and the routes of vessels, how do you incorporate disruptive incidents and activities happening that affect your plan?
Okay, I'm going to try to answer the best way I can. Sorry, the sound is really not good on my side. How we try to differentiate today from the other CO2 emission calculator is with the granular data. Today, most of this CO2 emission calculator don't take into consideration distances, assets, and speed. Most of the calculator, for example, on the distances, uses tabulated port-to-port distances. On our side, we use AIS data and the accurate distances from the vessel based on their AIS tracks. We also take into consideration vessel specifics. Most of the calculator, especially on sea freight, they use only one emission factor per vessel category, per vessel fleet, or per trade lane. So this is aggregate of data. On our side, we use specific engine for every vessel, and we have more than 6,000 vessels in our database. And the last element which differentiates our solution from all the other current solution, is that we take also into consideration the speed of the vessel, the real speed of the vessel. And this is something which is really important when you talk about CO2 emission calculation. We get the speed from AIS, and we also get the speed for every leg of the schedule. So this make our CO2 emission more accurate than the current calculator on the market.
Thank you.
Am I understanding your question?
Roughly, yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Sorry, let's add another 2 minutes for the time for the Q&A. Yeah.
Eva, just a question on, so vessel performance optimization and fuel type has a practical impact in terms of CO2 emissions. How do you account for that rather than just pure calculations of speed, asset, and so on and so forth? How are you taking into account changes that may have taken place on the vessel, hull cleaning, or any other optimizations to change your calculator to make it more relevant?
So regarding the fuel consumption, we take into consideration the fuel of the vessel. If they travel, for example, in SECA and ECA zones, so we take into consideration the fuel changing in these zones. For the moment, we don't take into consideration, for example, LNG vessels. But this is something that will be integrated in our work roadmap for the coming years. We will integrate the specifics of fuel consumption in the database to give our calculation more accurate on the fuel consumption.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I think a lot of the questions will be around the operational aspects of things. So I'm just going to add to that. Have you tried looking at actual data and what is the variability from the actuals versus your predicted data?
What else, sorry?
Have you tried looking at actual data compared to your predicted data and to identify what is really the variability between the actual versus your predicted data?
Unfortunately, we don't have, it's really, really hard to have accurate fuel consumption, because the best way to calculate CO2 emission is to have the real fuel consumption of a specific vessel. But it's really hard to have this kind of data, as you have legs to take into consideration, and different speeds for every leg. So the fuel consumption won't be the same for every leg. And it's really hard to have this data from shipping companies, for example. The best way we have evaluated our data and calculation is comparing our results from the legacy systems. So as I said before, they take into consideration averages. And for example, they take vessel categories. So the emission will be the same for 7,000 TEU or for 14,000 TEUs. And this can lead to like a 40% difference in CO2 emission if you take into consideration the real specifics of the vessel. And this is where we can differentiate from the others.
Okay, thank you very much. Time is up. Thank you, Eva. Round of applause, please, to C rounds.
And from France, we're coming back to Singapore. Our second last team, we have Vulcan AI. He's going to show us some pretty cool wearables that can do health and safety monitoring. So, Vulcan AI.
So hi, today I will be talking about workplace safety, but using wearables and AI. A little bit about the company first. Sorry about that. Yeah, so a little bit about the company. So I was a partner at Ernst & Young, and my co-founder, Dr. Kamal, who's a PhD in industrial engineering, we set up this company about 12 months back, and we focus on ensuring safety, but using wearable AI. So as you know, I mean, some of the modern cargo ships are getting bigger and bigger. They're about 400 meters long, and it's manned by only 15 to 20 people. It's a very high-risk environment where accidents can happen. On an average, every year, there are some 25,000 ships which have incidents. So imagine for a moment that this was you. Suppose you're working in a confined space, you go down the ladder, you miss a step, and you fall and you're unconscious and nobody gets to know. So the difference between life and death could be just a simple alert. So imagine if there was a solution which used the CCTV and the variables that you have to automatically detect when a hazard or incident happened and alerted you at the right time. So this is what we do. So as you know, there is CCTV in ships already, but the problem is that you have to look at it manually to detect when things go wrong. So we've built a safety appliance which uses AI, which you can put on top of the CCTV, and it basically looks for certain things. As we know in COVID, I mean, PPE has become a household word. But in the maritime sector, wearing the safety jackets, wearing the helmets, this is really key. So the AI automatically detects if you're wearing the PPE or not and sends you a reminder. If somebody falls down, it can also detect that. Of course, there are places where there is no CCTV. So what do we do for that? So we have this. So this is a small variable which the seafarer can wear, and it detects heart rate, it detects motion. So if you're slipping, tripping, or falling, it can send an alert. If your heart rate goes down below a certain level, it could mean that you're unconscious. So the other thing is, instead of just wearing out your hand, we have also built it, which is really small. It's less than a $1 coin, and you can actually embed it inside PPE. So if you have a life vest or a helmet, you can put it inside, and the alert can go out whenever something goes wrong. So how do you get started? It's just like the Apple App Store concept. You choose the appliances you want, you choose the intelligent PPE that you want, you choose the apps, and you're ready to go. So for as less as $5,000, you can have your whole ship secure with wearable AI and safety intelligence. We have a lot of traction in Singapore, in the construction sector, in the manufacturing sector, also in oil and gas, and even in the healthcare side. So we believe that, earlier I mentioned 25,000 ships have an incident every year. So even if we target them initially at just $5,000 a year, that represents a $125 million addressable market. And if we expand it to the other sectors, the market is really huge, and it can be as much as $20 billion. Thank you.
Just a question in terms of the work on the maritime space. Have you actually got any pilots or any testing in terms of your comm solution within the ship, considering it's basically a metal can.
Yes. So on land we have, but on the ship we are actually working on this device. So this is basically a BLE to Wi-Fi gateway. So that will communicate to this, and then this will tap on the existing Wi-Fi.
Right.
So I want to. I believe there are a lot of other similar players out there. So, are there any defensible IP that you have invented in this?
So, I mean, for fall detection, there is, I think, solutions out there. But for slip trip, actually, there is no open data set today which people have trained on. So, we actually have a Singapore patent which leverages on the accelerometer data, and we've also worked with the Workplace Safety Health Institute of Singapore to sort of build that solution, which is very accurate.
Do you have enough synthetic data to be able to actually build your model for slips and trips?
So for falls, we did, because there are open data sets for that. For slip and trip, actually, we've simulated some data, and we have 3 test beds going on in 3 different parts of Singapore. So through that, we'll be collecting even more data, live data.
Question on the commercial model. Who actually buys your type of solution? And have you engaged folks like insurance companies as well?
So, I mean, it will be basically the ship operators and the people who are responsible for safety of the seafarers. Then it could also be the sort of ports where the port workers work. And we have not talked to insurance companies yet, but our hypothesis is that if you use solutions like this, it could also help lower your insurance premium.
Thank you.
Have you spoken to PPE manufacturers or suppliers at all?
So not yet, but that is the other sort of go-to market. So, but we were actually thinking that we will have our AI sort of hard printed on the wearables and then take it to them. That will basically create a bigger moat for us.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
We are now on to our last startup. And Ning, did you know that you can use one of our 5 sensors for predictive monitoring and maintenance of heavy equipment?
I'm not sure about that, but I'm guessing it's not sight. Could it be taste? I don't know, but let's find out from groundup.ai.
Hi, my name is Leon, and I'm from groundup.ai. Over the past 4 weeks, we have managed to secure 4 POCs, that is 1 proof of concept per week. Now, these are brand new companies, and I'm sure we've all heard of them before. These companies have not signed up for a product, they have not signed up for a service. What they've signed up for is an investment opportunity, an opportunity to increase their bottom line, improve their P&L, especially in this difficult period, and beyond. Now, the big problem that we are solving for them is unplanned downtime. Unplanned downtime costs a ship company $12 million a year for just 1 fleet. And not to mention that a small part like turbocharger breakdown costs the company $500,000, and it renders your ship totally unproductive. Existing solutions include these: vibration, thermal, and voltage. Now, the problem with these solutions are that it's pretty old school, very analog, and you have to go really near to take the readings. In other words, yuck, there has to be a better way. So over here at groundup.ai, we use our AI and IoT platform to perform predictive maintenance by creating a crystal ball for your ship's health. We have pioneered the use of sound because sound is safe, sound is easy to deploy, and sound is scalable across different parts of the ship. This is how a sound sensor looks like, and it can easily be retrofitted under 10 minutes. After taking data from the sound sensors, we then deploy our secret noise cancellation method, which is an industrial way of cancelling high amplitude and high frequency noises. Oh, and by the way, we are patenting this. We believe we have built up the world's most comprehensive sound error database, which helps us to deploy our solutions 5 times than the competitors out there. After we consolidate all these data, we bring it to our proprietary intelligence platform. It's really simple, it's elegant, and there's data for every stakeholder. But wait, look at the green box over there. Finally, ship owners can know where their investment is going. And I think that's why the ship owner clients all fall in love with me after that. So in a nutshell, the groundup intelligence platform is simple to use, it reduces training overhead, and you can even have real-time updates at sea. So for the corporates out there today, how can we start working together? Really simple. We run a proof of concept for 3 months, really low risk, before jumping into a real commercial contract. The market is really huge and is growing rapidly. More customers are coming in, so you got to act really fast. In fact, we have deployed this solution across different verticals where we have customers already enjoying real-time ROI as you're speaking currently. This is our team. I'm Leon, the CEO and co-founder. I have 2 exits before in enterprise tech space. Alex and I, my co-founder, we are both graduates from NUS, and we have a full team, masters and PhD holders in every important role. And we have 2 key investors from GIC and a board of PhD holders as well to help us. And we believe that our plan, roadmap for 2030, is to help all organizations out there to automate their maintenance for the future. And finally, this quote: the best time to start was yesterday, the next best time to start is today. So ladies and gentlemen, who wants to start saving $1 million a year in maintenance costs? Once again, my name is Leon, and thank you all so much for listening.
Thanks for the pitch, Leon. That's very interesting. Just so for me to understand your product. So the product is the equipment that's required in the machinery spaces, it's the analytics, and it's the visualization for money savings?
Yep. It's the whole system, end-to-end, the hardware and the software itself.
And installation can be done just during normal cargo ops?
Yeah.
Okay.
Retrofitted 10 minutes.
So, Leon, I want to know, how do you intend to establish the ROI with only a 3 months POC?
So the good thing for us is we have a database on other industries. So we're bringing over the learning over using reinforcement learning. So we pre-configure the algorithms before we speak to our clients. So the main purpose of joining PIER71 really is to get this opportunity to reach out to the clients, deploy the sensors on board using the little bit of 3 months data, and then we tweak our algorithm accordingly. Yeah.
Okay, so getting a bit into the technical side of things a little. For sound, for example, right? So noise cancellation is one thing, but for different types of machinery, even the same machinery, different age, right? You have different types of sound profiles as well, right? So you have multiple machineries on a single vessel. There's overlays that happens as well. So what do you have in terms of technology to decompose a specific sound into multiple machineries and multiple conditions of machineries?
So there's 2 parts to it. The way we design our sensor is to take in data, for example, in the engine room, there's 8 different cylinders. So we build our sensor in a way such that it can take in separately in each cylinder first. So our sound sensor is meant to point at one device. Think of it like a laser gun. Absolutely, yeah. And then you take it back to the data. So if we collect the data at a correct, precise point, the analyzing becomes much easier after that. So I see where competitors, they don't take into consideration is they design their sound solution to take in 360 only. So that applies for industry areas that is very open space. But in a shipping environment where it's really closed up, we have to modify a little bit to ensure that the precise point of shooting is there.
Got it.
Yeah.
So basically it is specific to the cylinder.
Absolutely.
Okay,
yes.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Leon, have you approached any OEMs or other than just vessel owners, vessel managers? Have you approached any other sort of use case or end user from a market perspective?
Yeah, I think for the shipping one, the really great problem is the turbocharger first. And then we move down the list of priorities together during our POC chats. Yeah, so turbocharger, and then we move down to the engine room, then different parts of the engine, and then we look at the propellers as well. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And further question to that, which is around mean time to failure type, right? So while you're able to figure out the analysis of that particular cylinder, what are the kind of algorithms or what kind of IP that you have built to predict failure?
We can finish that question.
Yeah. Okay, so the algorithm that we built to predict failure is we can't share the exact details here, but in a nutshell, it's 2 parts of it. That means you require the first part of noise cancellation first in order for the separation and classification to work.
Right.
Yeah, so we are intending to patent this whole system. Okay. So we have one whole thing that we can deliver to clients. They don't have to buy multiple systems and end up incurring more cost than they actually should have.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for the questions.
Thank you, Leon.
Okay.
Now, well, that's the end of the startup pitches, all 8 of them in total. And by the way, I think we didn't mention about what our grand finalists are competing for today, Jess.
That's right, we've saved that piece of information until now, so the grand finalists are competing for 3 cash prizes totaling 18,000 Singapore dollars. And all 16 teams are also eligible to apply for the MPA grants of up to $50,000 each. And these grants will support their proof of development locally in partnership with a maritime corporate.
Yeah, so actually that's also the cue that the judges can probably make their way to the deliberation room.
They have a very tough job.
Yes, it's really time to work them hard. All right, so once again, everyone, you can read and watch short videos for our guests that are joining us online of all our 16 finalists on the page spc2020.PIER71.sg. And do join the networking sessions that will be taking place at 4:30 p.m. Every team is hosting their own, and you can find out all about it on the same page.
Wait, what's that? Aren't all phones supposed to be on silent mode? Oh, I forgot, it's got to be Keith and Jasmine calling in. So that's Keith from Performance Rotors, who was mentioned earlier in SMSG's speech, and Jasmine from Vopak, who invested in them.
So same time last year, Performance Rotors was right here pitching at SmartPort Challenge 2019. They've had quite a bit of a journey since the past 12 months, and we're pleased to be able to hear from Keith Ng, who is the CEO and also the co-founder of Performance Rotors. Hi, Keith.
Hi, and we're also very glad to have with us Jasmine Ang, who is the project lead for digitalization from Vopak. That's one of the largest oil and chemical terminals in the world. Hi, Jasmine.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone.
Okay, so Keith, we were just listening to 8 pitches, but I think we can take one more, right? So maybe in 3 minutes, can you tell us what you've been up to for the past couple of months, or rather lately?
Okay, 3 minutes, my clock starts now. Well, we have been continuing with our efforts to make inspection work more efficient and safer for everyone, especially so in confined spaces. Now, we have also been working on our AI defect reporting system, an expansion of the AI defect detection system, which I shared in SPC 2019. So this is where we now localize and auto-report the defects found on a web application. This speeds up the reporting process, and which in our experience, reporting takes a whole lot longer than the actual inspection work. And of course, we have been busy expanding as well. So that's what we have been up to in this past 1 year.
It sounds like despite COVID and all that, still getting on with it. So thank you, Keith, for sharing. And in fact, after SPC, you got the MPA grant to work with Bernhard Schulte, as we heard earlier, on a 6-month proof of concept. Could you share with us what your journey was like? Were there challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them? So for our startups who may be going on to develop similar things, proof of concepts, they can then learn from your experience.
Okay, I think Bernhard Schulte is a strong supporter of innovation, and they have been most helpful in making available vessels for us to test and fine-tune our drone solution. So the challenge that we face is not so much within Bernhard Schulte itself, but the entire new environment that we are working in. So for example, if we were to conduct a remote inspection on a vessel, we have only a very short time frame from when the vessel completes its bunkering work and from it sailing off. So that small window period is all we have to work with. So to overcome this, we have to be very swift in our execution. We work internally and externally to prepare for such a short window. So internally, our SOP and training ensures that we are ready to deploy and we are able to conduct the inspection very swiftly. Externally, we keep a very close communication with the vessel management for estimated time of arrival updates, for anchorage allocation, and with the CAAS to get our flight permits. So we are hoping to improve this efficiency further. We will be talking to the relevant authorities to explore the possibilities of having designated anchorages where inspection can take place. Then we can have a block permit, if you like, so that as and when any vessel comes in requiring inspection services, it is definitely that fixed location that we go to. That will increase the efficiency of the whole process.
Right, thank you for sharing that. And this question is for Jasmine. So we also know that Vopak invested in performance rotors this year, even with COVID-19, in the background. So could you share how that happened, and in particular, what did Vopak see in performance rotors?
Okay, so I think I'll start by addressing the benefits performance rotor solution provides to Vopak. So here in Vopak, safety is of utmost importance. So the use of these robotic solutions for in-tank inspection helps us really eliminate major human risk in dangerous environments like confined space and working at heights. So why did we invest in the company? Following a successful POC with Performance Rotor, we assessed the company on multiple fronts, from the impact of the value that the solution brings to us, to the business case, the synergies the solution has with our operations, and its growth trajectory potential. So after evaluating all these different aspects, we decided to invest in the company and took a minor stake in them.
Yeah. Solution, the growth trajectory of the company, the business case, and all these are actually different areas they look at for startups. And I also know that Vopak is working with different startups in various areas of work. Could you share with us why startups? Why did Vopak choose to work with this sector of the innovation ecosystem when there are so many different solution providers you could consider?
Okay, while we don't only work with startups to co-create solutions, but working with startups is definitely an avenue that we tap on to provide access and exposure to emerging technologies. And this helps us stay relevant for the future. So startups tend to be more flexible and are able to learn and conduct solution iterations for better solution market fit faster. So this really enables us to quickly test the technology feasibility and co-create solutions to gauge its operational compatibility with our sites. For startups that have big growth potential and have proven to be useful to us, we will sometimes, for example, the case of Performance Rotor, we will sometimes take a stake in them. Yeah.
Sorry for the disruption. So I think the next question I want to ask is that, some of the maritime companies are listening at the moment online with us, right? They may not have yet had the experience of working with startups very much like what Vopak has, or maybe a bit hesitant to do so. So what would you say is the top advantage in partnering with these very agile companies, and also your advice on how to start the journey with them?
So
that's to Jasmine.
So I think my top advice is really to embrace that this journey consists of learnings on both sides, both on the startup end and also for the corporate or the company that's working with the startup. So on the startup's end, it's really learning more about the company's operations and the applications that it can provide to value. And on the company's end, it's really to understand the strengths, benefits, and also the limitations that these technology offerings can bring. So solution solving is a very collaborative approach and definitely need expertise on both sides to come in together.
Okay, I think the next question I'm going to ask, right, is on behalf of the tech ventures. Because I'm going to ask you, other than in-hull inspection, Jasmine, what other solutions or problems or challenges that Vopak is looking at right now? Because that question is also equivalent to opportunities for tech ventures.
So right now, we are focusing on three major areas. Firstly, in the realm of energy transition, digital operation, digital asset management, and also supply chain logistics. So of course, these whatever solutions that come to us, it has to bring in value and advantages to help us improve the site safety, operational efficiency, and sustainability.
So many opportunities out there for our tech ventures to explore. And back to Keith now. Performance rotors, I understand, and we heard from the speech earlier, started off in the construction and infrastructure sector. So you used your drones to do building, facade, structural inspections, and then sometimes you use them for aerial photography in leisure and in other sorts of events. And now you're in the maritime space, which is actually quite different. So I wanted to ask you, what's your experience crossing over into the maritime sector? What's unique to the sector, and what can you share with our other startups who may also be on a similar journey to enter a new space?
There's a lot of things in one question. Okay, right. So it was an interesting experience. What you mentioned and what we've done last time with infrastructure, yes, initially our confined space application drones, we did it for confined spaces in infrastructure and construction. So when we came into maritime, there was a whole new list of things to consider. There's different sort of risk, right? Because in land, the risk of entering into confined spaces. But now at sea, our guys now have to have a certain level of fitness to be able to climb from boat to rope ladder onto the vessel to conduct the inspection. There's additional safety consideration, additional equipment such as life vests, and just in case somebody decided to go swimming unplanned. And the nature of what we do as well requires a different set of standards that we have to adhere to. For example, on land, what we probably need are certain things like BizSafe, ISO 9001, and such. But when we go into vessel inspection, we need to be verified by classes. So from what I saw just now in the presentation, I identified at least one of the startup will need that as well. So basically, the classes are bodies of standards to ensure that what we do are acceptable, meets the requirement. So depending on which country the vessel is registered in, will require different class approvals. So today, as the minister shared, we have approval from American Bureau of Shipping, from Lloyd's, which is UK, Bureau Veritas, and RENA. So to come on from one sector to another, be prepared for changes, which is good, because with progress, then you have changes.
And actually that I think kind of relates quite well to the speech also earlier. There are risks that we have to take. We have to look out for the regulations, and also we need to adjust, right, for the new sector. So I think maybe just one last question. We see our judges are coming back. So for the startups that are graduating today, Keith, what would you say is the most important thing they should do after today?
Wow, okay. So all the startups today are given a springboard to the connections that PIER71 has for exposure and growth. Now work on these connections, because this gives you you're connected to the right people from the get-go. Yeah. So as you expand along and work along with the corporates today, you will be expanding along their respective networks as well. In your journey, from what I have learned, we find a balance in listening to what the client wants and what you are focused to do. Yeah. Because if you pay too much attention to what they want, you may lose your focus, and your solution may go into something that's not really needed. But if you focus on what you do too much, you may become disconnected and lose your clients. So it's an exciting journey. Make use of it.
Thanks very much, Keith and Jasmine, for sharing your experiences and also your well wishes with our graduating batch. So we hope to see you in person at our next SPC event, and meanwhile, take care and see you again.
Right, thank you. Very sound advice. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, it looks like our judges are back with the results. So right now, we would like to invite our Chief Judge, Nakul, on stage to share a few words from the panel.
Can you hear me? Yes. I can almost hear the hearts pounding. I think that was a fantastic afternoon. And I think from our perspective and on behalf of my fellow judges, Mark and Professor Tier as well, I want to actually congratulate all the finalists. I think it was a great job. And also thank you for allowing us to get a peek into the future of maritime. And I think it's exciting. It gives us confidence that maritime will definitely stay relevant for the future. As I said, very, very difficult choice, but I'm glad to say that we have unanimous decisions, and I'm looking forward to sharing it.
Thank you, Nakul, and thank you, judges, for your hard work. I'm sure it was not easy. Now, just before we announce the prize winners, we would like to invite our guest of honor, SMS Chi, once again on stage to give out the checks to the winning teams. We'd also like to invite MPA chairman to give out the trophies, and Irene from NUS, as well as MPA CE Ms. Kwa Lei Hoon, to join them on stage for the ceremony.
Maybe SMS can take his position here. We'll leave the center position for the winner, and Chairman, if you could stand here. Yeah, thanks. So Nakul, are you ready?
As our VIPs get their positions, just to remind you what's at stake, our startups are competing for cash prizes of $3,000, $5,000, and $10,000.
Just hang on a minute. If we can have this ready.
Thank you.
All right, Nakul.
Absolutely, and I feel like it's almost like drum roll time. So, second runner-up. In the third position, we have Vulcan AI.
Congratulations, if you can take a picture and take the check, and then another one with the trophy.
One for the gram.
Difficult to put a thumb up. Thank you.
Congratulations, Vulcan. I think crew safety is something that's on everybody's mind, so it's really great to see the solution you're working on. Drum roll again. The first runner-up in the second position is Fuel Save.
Oh. Are they online?
Fuel Save, so that's our team from Germany. Yes.
Okay, so let's take it
so
on
you
their
can hold
behalf
it up.
then.
We will show Mark, and
There.
Mark is on screen.
Wave, Mark. All right, so I can have that. And this is the top prize.
Congratulations, Fuel Save. Decarbonization is definitely an innovation trigger, and we're super excited to see the solution that you're working on. The grand drum roll one more time, please. Our winner for today, and it is extremely exciting to announce, unanimous decision from the judges, BX.
Thank you, Grace and Team BX.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much for giving away the prizes. Can we invite our guests to be seated again? Well, congratulations once again to our top three winners. I believe Nakul has one more announcement to make.
I do. As I said, it was a very difficult decision. Whilst the judges were unanimous, we also wanted to take the opportunity to make a special mention, and the special mention company is Groundup AI. Keep working at it, guys. You're close.
All right, so besides congratulating our top three winners and a special mention, we also want to congratulate all other startup finalists who made it so far, especially so in this challenging year.
So we've now come to the end of our program here, but our finalists are ready for you. Our startups are hosting their Zoom networking sessions, so do go to our microsite, spc2020.PIER71.sg, to find out more.
Yeah, so thank you very much once again to our guests here at Shaw Foundation Alumni House, friends online, and all the teams. Stay safe, everyone, and see you again next year.